死んでいる。何？
No! God!
Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Bobloon, aka Pavloon, and today we are taking a look at one of the coolest planes in Enlisted, the King of Normandy, the Tank Annihilator, Infantry Annihilator, Aircraft Damage Sponge, and overall just a really fun plane to fly. This is by far one of my favorite aircraft in Enlisted, and also probably one of the most hated planes if you're an infantry player. Why? Because you have a explosive round set up in your 30 and 37mm cannons, plus you have rockets with the biggest explosion radius I have seen in a while. These rockets can take out tanks, as well as the guns. They will also take out tanks if you hit the right spots, and they will absolutely murder any infantry. You have the combination of shooting your guns into a window in a building of a capture zone, or your rockets, and you have the ability to level bomb a field, open field with the guns. This is a very versatile setup, and it's all because of these two weapon systems, the rockets and the guns. You have two nose-mounted 30mm right here, as well as your 37mm under the nose right here. Your rockets are wing-mounted, which means you have to be kind of nifty at aiming these. You can't just shoot your crosshair, straight down the middle and hope to hit, because they're not nose-mounted. Your rear gunner is equipped with two 7.92mm machine guns that are dual-mounted, and he has quite a nice field of view because you don't have a tail wing in the middle. You have a quite open dual wing setup here that actually allows you to shoot bandits at your 6 o'clock quite effectively. Now let's talk about the BF-110's predecessors and the first BF-110s you unlock in this game. Because the BF-110 G-2 is the final iteration of this line in the game. And I talked about bombers. Well, it's because these things actually carry bombs in the C7 and the F2 configuration. These things don't have 30mm, they're equipped with 20mm instead, and more of these tinier machine guns. And you have bombs. Now, bombs aren't bad at all, but they're harder to hit, harder to aim, and they can sometimes be a little bit unpredictable. Getting your footwork down or your grounding with this plane and actually just getting to know it is really nice when you try the C7 and F2, because flying the G2 here can be quite tricky. It's a big plane and you have to do some crazy maneuvers, top-down attacks, level bombing, or well, you're not bombing, but level attack runs and stuff like that. You also have to dogfight and survive in the sky. So I'm going to try to teach you guys all that in this video, and I have some cool clips and some practice mode stuff here where we're going to talk about some attack theory, close air support, how to do it, what type of different modes there are, when to pull out of the dive in this plane, all that good stuff I'll get into in this video. Now before that, I just want to talk about these two versions. This is the standard max upgraded BF-110, and it will be better than your golden vehicle order variant. Even though it has a cool shark mouth, I mean, I love this, and I have used this forever, ever since I got it. I have actually not really used the max upgraded version, and it's just to tell you that if you think this looks really cool and you want to have this camo on, I've played with this for years, and I loved it. I haven't felt like it has hindered my gameplay at all. But if you want the best optimal experience, this is the one you need to take. And I mean, look at it on the bright side, you're going to save a gold vehicle order. The reason being, you get a 10% increase to engine power and 17% increase to fuselage drag coefficient. Whatever that means. Guys, don't worry, I'm not a War Thunder expert. I don't know all the state secrets. I just like flying the planes. Obviously, it's good to know what it entails, what type of power you have. But yeah, I'm not a War Thunder player. Things to keep in mind though, your climb rate is quite good, and this is something you need to keep in mind. This is your ace in the hole, pretty much, if you're getting attacked by a fighter. You also have a pretty nice turn time, as you can see, 18 seconds. It's actually not that bad, and a very high speed. This thing is a twin-engine fighter, so sometimes you can actually outrun things. I don't advise always going for the outrun strategy, but like I said, it's fast and it's got a good climb rate, so this is something you need to keep in mind. It's not worth it taking a turn fight with a Spitfire or an LA-7 or a Yak or anything that is a monoplane, or said in other terms, a single engine fighter. So enough of me blabbering on. I'm not going to go into perk upgrades and stuff like that. It is, in my opinion, kind of personal preference. This is what my perks are if you want to know. You can take a quick screenshot, and that's pretty much it. I'm not going to talk about it. We're going to hop into the training mode, or the practice mode, and I'm going to show you guys my 2 modes of attack. And then after that, I will show you guys all the gameplay I have of taking out different targets. Infantry, planes, and tanks. Okay, here we are, and welcome friends to the cockpit of the BF-110. So here we are, and we're going to check out the rear gunner. Very nice rear gunner because of the dual tail setup here. We have a very clear field of fire if there's an enemy on our 6. You can also look up, and you actually get quite a big range of motion here compared to other tail gunners. And it's nice to have a dual machine gun setup. Now, back to the pilot's view. We have these awesome guns. You can see here if I fire at full auto, we have a white and a red tracer. Now, the white tracers are the 2 30mm cannons you have. That's the one you have the most ammo with. And your 37 has a red tracer. Now, your 37 is really where all your damage is. And it is important to note that this thing has more drop than your 30mm. So take that into account when you're firing, and kind of use your reticle you can see here to hit targets with. Now we're going to fly over to the tanks, and I'm going to show you guys a attack run on a tank. We might not destroy it here because it's kind of iffy here in the practice mode because there's no actual players in the tank. But here we go. I mark a tank, I start shooting at it, we get some hits, and I actually start spamming. There we go. BT-7 destroyed. It might have looked a little bit fast, but you don't have a lot of time. You have to react instantly when you're flying these big twin-engine fighters. So basically the recipe for success is you fly in, mark a target, spam him with your cannons, and when you are close enough, you fire your rockets, and I fire both of mine most of the time just to get a saturation of explosions around this tank. And most of the time, if not all the time, you will actually take them out. And if not, you will go back for a second pass. Now that's kind of like the theory of how you attack with the BF-110. And there are still some things I want to teach you guys. What the attack I just did was a side-on attack, which is very fine and will suit you just fine in low tier rating or battle rating. Since this plane is battle rating 3, you can actually get into both high and low tier. In low tier, the attack you just saw is going to work wonders, but if you are in high tier against something like an IS-2 or Pershing, this is the type of attack you need to employ. This is a top-down attack, and the reason we're doing this is to hit the roof armor of this tank. Unleash the rockets, fly up. We did not take him out, but you can see we tracked him. So now he's immobilized. This is a mobility kill. Either the tanker has to get out and repair it, exposing himself to enemy fire, or he's going to stay still and I'm going to come back and finish him off. This is how you destroy tanks in this game with the BF-110. You can see his ammo rack is actually red. He is about to just completely explode. So maybe we should try to finish him off. Just see what happens. I pulled off right there. At 200 meters, guys, you want to pull out of the dive. You might be able to stretch it out to 150 meters, but if you go below or hit 100, you are 100% going to hit the ground as a pancake, or you're going to hit a building in your pull out. So please, guys, remember to pull out of the dive. It's probably the biggest killer in my plane runs is not pulling out a dive. You can see how little it takes, and I'm going to show you guys just before we ended up here how hard it is to pull out of a dive if you do it too late. So we're going to try to dive onto this IS-2 here, because sometimes you get a little greedy, you get the tunnel vision syndrome, and you just start, hammering these tanks, and you forget to pull up. So here we go. Oh, I'm just killing a tank. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Yeah, there you go. Alright, that's it. Let's go take out some of the real tanks, and I'll show you guys the gameplay and give you some tips. Now, what makes a successful pilot in Enlisted? It's certainly not flying around in the sky, not trying to attack the point, only going for, high kill streaks. You should be going for the objective. Now, obviously, infantry is the most powerful thing in this game because infantry can capture points. You cannot capture a point in a plane, a fighter, nor an attack plane, but you definitely can defend it and prevent the enemy from it. Right now, this bridge is the attack point, and that means the enemies and my teammates are funneled onto this bridge. I am looking for tracers, and as soon as I see some, I instantly start hammering where these tracers are coming from. And you can see that resulted in 9 kills. 6 of them went to my 30mm cannons and their explosive rounds, and the last 3 went to my rockets. After an attack run, I used the excessive amount of energy we have accumulated in the dive to quickly gain altitude again and go in for another attack run. Once again, I'm looking for tracers, trying to hit where the tracers are, and anytime I see a tracer, I try to give him a shot. Now again, if you remember from the practice mode, you gotta pull out of this dive at least at 200 meters. You can do it earlier, but it definitely depends on your skill as a pilot. In this plane, you have combat flaps, which not all planes have. It's definitely not normal for bombers to have it, but a lot of the German heavy fighters and bombers actually do. And here we're gonna get attacked by an enemy fighter. And you can see how quick it is if you're not aware of your surroundings. I wasn't looking behind me. I didn't know the guy was there. And you can see how quickly you can go from having a ton of fun to being completely destroyed out of the sky. This guy is going to get the beat on me, and we're going to go end up taking out our own soldier here. And now we're going to take a look at another example here. In this game, we're facing the Americans, and they have the dreaded P-47. This is also an attack plane, but it's actually a fighter. The Bf-110 here is an attack plane, but it's a twin-engine heavy fighter. So against a normal fighter like the P-47, yeah, you won't stand a chance in a dogfight. But there are some things you can do. As you can see here, we spot the enemy P-47 because we see his rocket tracers. We actually fly right past each other as I destroyed an enemy armored personnel carrier. To avoid this P-47, I am going to counter turn in a scissor motion, meaning we will cross each other's nose every once in a while. At least that's the theory. But this guy apparently did not notice me, and he actually turns away, presenting him with his 6. When you are fighting planes like a P-47, stuff that turns way better than you do, all you can hope for is that you can outwit your enemy and actually confuse him, or maybe he loses sight of you, and that's probably what happened here to this P-47. Now it's super important, because you have these mega heavy cannon shells, that you don't just hold down the fire button and shoot controlled bursts, kind of like I'm doing here. We're having a very hard time because of our massive plane structure actually keeping up with this guy in the turn, and that's where you get these combat flaps. By using the flaps on your plane along with the throttle, increasing or decreasing your speed is going to make you have the chance to do a sharp return, and that's actually why we end up catching up with this guy. I'm pretty sure he had no clue I was behind him, but we end up clipping his wing and the P-47 goes down just like that. But you saw we kind of had to work for it. We're out of 30mm ammo, we only have our 37, and aiming with this 37mm is kind of like firing a bow and arrow in the air, again at a target that's flying 400 to 300, 500 kilometers an hour. It's hard, and you cannot rely on the aim reticle. You have to kind of wing it, I guess. No pun intended. But yeah, you saw it takes quite a bit of, you know, stress on your aircraft to actually do these turns, but it is possible, and you need to vary speed and use your flaps. You can definitely notice when you're fighting against a pilot who doesn't use flaps, because if, let's use the example of the P-47 here, even though I'm a massive twin-engine fighter with a rear gunner and, you know, all the armaments, we were actually able to out-turn or turn with him. I think maybe it's because he probably didn't know we were there, or he actually just didn't use his flaps. I have my flap buttons marked, or sorry, key binded to my mouse buttons. So mouse forward, mouse backwards, you know, on your, where your thumb's placed on the mouse. That's why I have my flap up and down. I think default you have to press 1 and 2 on a PC. I don't know what it is on console, guys, my bad. But it definitely is a big help to you to have your flaps on the same hand as your mouse. So you don't have to do this, this is just how I do it, but it's a good tip, and I recommend you guys rebind your flap keys. So we have gotten wind in this game that there are enemy bombers incoming, and we also see a plane on the horizon. He ends up being friendly, which is quite nice, and that's why I recommend you get the perk that gives you better vision range, or you can see planes at longer ranges. I can't really remember what it precisely says, but it's one of the last perks, and it's really nice to have. This is what the BF-110 was designed to do, is take out bombers, and just 1 or 2 hits from these 30mm cannons is going to knock out one of these planes. Now, coming from the front is not the most ideal attack, but it is where you're going to be the most safe from the gunners of those bombers. We didn't quite do a lot of damage to these bombers here, but it's, if you want to grind XP, guys, if you want to get a lot of XP, go take out those bombers. My best advice for taking them out is coming on their, you know, either left or right side from kind of below, and then going, you know, into the 9 or 3 o'clock and coming right, slotting in right on their 6, trying to avoid these rear gunners. Ideally, you need to take out 2 or 3 bombers before you get on their 6, otherwise they'll just shred you. So this was kind of a little demonstration of air-to-air combat and how to deal with bombers. But obviously this thing is an air-to-ground plane, so that's really what you want to be doing. Now, there is a priority list of what type of target you should go for. If there's an air target, that means any type of plane in the air. I will always go for that first, because you can't do your work if you're, you know, if you have somebody harassing you. I mean, can you imagine sitting down at your desk trying to do work and you have a fly, you know, annoying you the whole time? It's quite a weird metaphor, because, like, you know, a military fighter aircraft is a little bit more deadly than a fly, but it's nonetheless a nuisance. That is why I take out planes first. So always, always, always keep your eyes peeled for planes. We saw in the first clip what happens when you don't do that. And tunnel vision, like I told you guys in the practice, is one of the biggest killers of any pilot in this game. So keeping your eyes peeled, going for planes first should be your priority. After that, it should definitely be tanks. Tanks and armored personnel carriers. And you see me there, I was taken out by probably a telephone mast or something like that, because I didn't pull out fast enough. So, I mean, there's tons of examples here in these clips of me messing up as well. Now, tanks are your next biggest priority. I mean, if there's no planes up, they are the biggest priority, because if you have a guy sitting in the plane, especially an attack plane, and he's not focusing tanks, it really pisses me off, because it is your finest duty as an attack plane pilot to take out enemy tanks. Now, these tanks right here are T-34s. You're going to be able to take out a T-34 pretty easily with this gun setup. But higher level tanks such as an IS-2 or, you know, Pershings like we talked about, they are going to be much harder for you to take out. But you should still go for them, because just like I said, you can mobility kill it. You can take out the traction, you might even get an engine fire, and while you might not outright hit the ammo rack and destroy it, it can happen, trust me, I've tried it. You need to get super lucky and have a really steep diving angle, which can be risky. Just going for some shots on it is worth your time, because immobilizing a tank is very, very huge. Like I said, the guy has to get out, repair all his stuff, and that's quite annoying for him. And here's something very, very unfortunate happened. I clipped my wing, destroyed our right engine, and that is a goodbye for our plane life there. It's pretty hard to fly in Stalingrad and Berlin, because obviously there's buildings everywhere, and that is not ideal for a plane. But it is possible, guys, to fly these planes in urban maps. So since Germany is fighting a lot in cities, they both have Stalingrad and Berlin, you have to get used to flying in those cities. And you know, it takes practice, but it's also it can be quite useful. If somebody builds an AA guns are quite devastating in this game. If you get hit by one shell, it's over. You can't land and repair. You're done. If you lose a crucial part of your plane, yeah, you're gonna crash. So having buildings is actually not the worst thing, because you can fly in between buildings. You can fly along the river you see there in here in Berlin, and it actually shields you from AA. Of course, it's dangerous, but you know, it's just to say that there are advantages to flying in the city as well. Here we find ourselves a KV-1, and I didn't use both my rockets because I didn't feel comfortable my angle of attack was good enough. So what we're going to do instead, since the KV-1 is a pretty armored bastard, we're going to get high up into the sky. We're at 800 meters, and we're going to dive down straight on his face. We still have one rocket left, and we're just going to unleash hell and lead with our guns. Firing our rockets at the end, and boom, there we go. It was actually not the rockets that took him out, it was actually the 30 mil, as you can see. But, you know, there's no such thing as overkill when you're trying to take out a KV-1. But it's definitely good to just have the rockets there anyways. But most of the time, like I told you, it is the guns that do the big work here. When you are flying a plane a lot in Enlisted, it is very important to also be relevant on the ground, just like I talked about before. Infantry are the most powerful. What I mean by this is, how are you relevant on the ground if you're flying in a plane? Well, something I do is, my first spawn is going to be an engineer squad. I'm going to place rally points, ammo bags, fortifications, and stuff like that. And I'm going to do my best to get a ton of kills and impact the game, help defend or help attack, until the planes are available. Planes become available, I think it's after 1 minute and 30 seconds in this game. So you have some time there to be productive, and the reason I say put down a rally is because, well, rally points, first of all, they give you basic just XP all the time, and it helps your team, you know, keep up with the enemies. So when you're in your plane, you're still contributing to the team. It's the rarest amount of people that actually put down rally points. So if you just put down a rally point, you're helping your team quite a bit already. And if you're also taking out tanks like you see here, well, that's also great. Looking for tracers, looking for tanks, placing rallies, and remembering that you also have to jump out of your plane. This is probably the most important thing about being a pilot, is recognizing that, shit, my team is actually losing right now. They're losing momentum, the enemy's gaining momentum. You jump out of your plane and you get in your infantry squad and help your team. The only times it makes sense to use a plane like I am here, just spamming, you know, resupply after resupply, is when you're winning. The enemy team right now can't push. I mean, they're stuck at the first cap, and you can see me, I've taken out a KV-1, T-34, we got an 8-man earlier. We're just having a good time. It makes sense to fly a plane right now. But if the enemy was already at the third capture point and had 1,000 tickets, I would not be up here right now. It's just a very important thing to note, and it's something that's gonna make you not be the annoying, you know, plane player in Enlisted, because I understand why people don't like him. I really do. But again, we're just gonna come down like this. You guys probably get the formula by now. Find target, dive down, spam with guns, vice versa. Boom, boom, boom. I can't quite remember if this guy actually goes down. I don't think he does. We get one of his crew members, and as you can see, we don't destroy the tanks, but we kill the crew. If it doesn't have a crew, well, the tank is just a big chunk of metal. So we're gonna try again. Like I said, don't give up. You are the most annoying thing to a tank, and every time he hears the clink, 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 clink of those guns hitting him, he's screaming inside. But look at that. T-34, all crew members completely annihilated. Or is it an IS-1? I think it's actually an IS-1. And if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure we take him out from fire or something, or maybe we take him out here. If this is an IS-1, it's a perfect example of how it takes a little bit more, you know, a couple more passes to take out a heavy tank like this one. And we're just gonna keep coming down on him. We've completely destroyed his tracks. We've completely killed his crew. This tank is probably dead. And there we go. It was an IS-2, the most heavily armored Soviet tank. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, guys. The other thing is, should you swap to your rear gunner, or should you just let the AI take over? I have found mixed results with this. The rear gunner feature that you can control it yourself is quite new in the game, and I actually love it. I think it's really good. With the BF-110 here, the G2, you have a really good rear gunner, and it's not the most stupid idea to let your AI control it most of the time. The only times I'll control my gun is if I have a guy on my 6, and I'm in a steep dive or climb, trying to get this guy to, you know, stay straight. Because if I can get this guy to climb, ideally, or dive after me, I can actually line him up much easier. When they're flying across your screen from left to right, or bobbing, weaving, dodging, all that kind of stuff, it's very difficult to hit, and that's when you want your AI gunner to shoot. If you're maneuvering, turning, or they're doing it, let the AI take over. They have aimbot. But if you are lining them up at it, they are flying in a straight line, you should be taking control of that rear gunner, because you can place very crucial shots into the canopy, engine, or you might even clip a wing. So there's just a little bit of tips right there for you guys regarding rear gunners. Now, if you've made it this far into the video, I mean, it's going on what, 26 minutes? Yes, it is a comprehensive guide, but I want to give you guys the best tips and tricks for, you know, mastering this plane. This final gameplay you're going to be seeing here, or clips from this gameplay, is me fighting against low tier. So this is tier 1, 2, and 3. That was a tier 1 anti-aircraft tank. It only took 137mm to take out his whole crew, and 130mm to take out his whole vehicle. I mean, it's not a tank, it's not very well armored. But my point being, this is a monster plane because it could get matched against low tier tanks and low tier players. It makes absolutely no sense, and Darkflow really needs to fix this, but currently this is how it is in the game. And, you know, I will take advantage of it. I'm just gonna say that. I play mostly high tier, so sometimes I enjoy just going down to low tier and destroying with this thing. And that's what we're doing here. Basically, anything we face, we can take out with our guns. There is no tank here that's gonna survive more than 2 or 3 passes. Most of the time, you'll get him in the first pass with this thing. You saw with the IS-2 how long it took. First, I thought it was a T-34, then I thought it was an IS-1. It turned out it was an IS-2, and we needed to do 3 to 4 passes on it. Well, the tanks here, well, some of them don't even have roofs, and they don't like getting shot at by these guns, I can tell you that. Even just exploding a rocket next to them is going to make them blow up into smithereens. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And this plane right here is the reason I actually began playing Enlisted. It's the sole reason I started enjoying this game is because of this plane. So obviously, if you enjoy aviation in video games, you might understand me here. But yeah, here we go, dumping some rockets, a little triple kill there. We're gonna get back around. We're actually just looking for tanks here, waiting for somebody to spot one. We see 2 tanks now. One of them is in our spawn, and the other one is in their spawn. I'm thinking to myself, how the heck did a tank get into our spawn? And I'm also thinking, well, nice, 2 free tanks kills. So we're gonna start on the first one here. We're just hammering him. The M8 Scott goes down well quick. All crewmen dead. And the tank exploded very, very quickly. Now we're gonna loop back around. Guys, we don't have any rockets. So we're basically only using our guns. Activating combat flaps. Using our energy to gain high altitude so we have more time to attack this target. And, well, here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom, he's dead. Not even in the 3 seconds. The tanks here at this tier, they don't stand a chance. And you can have a ton of fun, farm so much XP with this plane. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, those of you who made it all the way to the end here, I greatly appreciate it. And I would love to hear what you guys would like to see next, if there's a specific plane. Currently, I only have US and Germany at high tier. So Soviet and Japanese is something I'm working on. So yeah, if you have any plane you want to see a guide to next, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll just pick whatever I find to be amazing. And yeah, thank you for watching, guys. My name is Bobloon, aka Pabloon, and I am signing out. Hey, thank you so much, guys. This is me, Bob, and I just wanted to say my deepest gratitude for all the people who have joined Team Buck Nutty, and guys and gals that have sent or gifted memberships. Thank you so much. Team Buck Nutty makes it so I can focus more on YouTube, and it actually helps pay my bills. So believe it or not, you guys have really changed my life, and I just wanted to say the sincerest thank you. So here are all the Team Buck Nutty members. again, thank you for watching the video. I'm going to be signing off. See you guys.